What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if Jenna Ortega will be the Ghostface killer in Scream 2022 or Scream 5. So, as you guys know, let's just get this opening out of the way really quickly. I try to do at least one Scream video every single week. I've been very successful at that over the last, three-ish or so months. I'm very, very grateful for all the support you guys have given me. I know there's a lot of people that have joined the channel and been subscribing and only watch and just comment on the Scream stuff, and I really do appreciate it. I love to have you guys here. I really, really do. So as always, make sure if you are new that you are subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up, as well as if you guys aren't following me on Twitter yet, Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. And as I've said before, I try to do more stuff with movies. I am going to be doing more stuff with movies going into 2021, considering there will be more movies just in general that release in 2021. But I thought this was an interesting one. I know I've seen there's been other people that have talked about who could be the killers before, and we'll talk about different candidates for sure, like Dylan Minette's character, Jack Quaid, all these characters. We'll talk about them in the future. But I see a lot of basically hate whenever it's brought up. I see a lot of very passionate in one way or the other talk when we talk about Jenna Ortega. So I've seen other people, commenters in other videos, not even just mine, other channels that do Scream stuff, and whenever Jenna Ortega is mentioned, it gets a lot of passionate responses, again, whether it be good or bad. I think it's possible. I don't think it's I don't think it's stupid to say. For people that say oh, that's just ridiculous, why would they do something like that? I don't think that's dumb at all. I mean, when you go so far to say maybe Sydney's the killer, I don't think that enters where, again, it's a dumb thing to say. I think it enters where it's well, that would be the twist of a lifetime, and I don't think it would work. They would have to try really, really hard to pull it off. But when it comes to Jenna Ortega, I mean, again, it makes sense. Remember, again, with Scream 4, they had a young cast. Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette. Yes, Neve Campbell, I think, was 33-ish when she was filming it. Courtney Cox obviously is a bit older than that. She was in her early 40s. But you have them, but then you also had a brand new cast, and Emma Roberts and Hayden Panettiere and all them. They were 20, 19, 20, 20, 21, somewhere in that age. They were all in that age, which was very reminiscent of the original Scream, which is what they were trying to replicate. And now we're seeing it again. And remember, as I've talked to before, what's hard about bringing a character like Kirby back is you have the original cast, which are now in their 40s or 50s. Depending on which person you're talking about, you would have that cast, which really it's just Hayden that's left, being 31, 30, and then you have a new cast altogether that is, Jenna Ortega is only 18, Dylan Minette's 23, but then Jack Quaid, you have some characters, I guess, they're playing characters, but you have some people all over the place, really, in the 20s, okay? So you have a lot of generations here. I don't think it would be the craziest thing in the world to make Jenna Ortega the killer. I really don't. She's popular, I guess, for the stuff that she's done. I've talked about it before. What's tough with her is I don't think she's a terrible actress. I've never watched her stuff, so I really can't say that. My main the thing I'll judge her on, the biggest, will be on Scream. That is what's going to sell me on her just in general, if she's good or bad as an actress. But it's not, basically the point I'm making is it's not like it hasn't been done before. However, you look at the flip side of it and you say, okay, well, at the same time, this movie is so important that you need to establish future characters going forward. I get the circumstances. It makes me really mad when I think about Kirby, and when I think about Hayden Panettiere, when I think about what happened with Scream 4 and where it was going to go in the future, and basically how it didn't happen, because I think Kirby is such an amazing character, and honestly, she probably is the best character of Scream 4. I watched, I think Zach Cherry is his name, right? He does, he's done, the ranking videos. I eventually want to do my own and see maybe where we compare and contrast. I think he put Kirby as, his favorite character for Scream 4. I mean, she was so good. She was so good. And so, you messed up because you kind of killed her, but you kind of left it open, and then you didn't, and now, we're here now, and she's probably not going to be in it. Nobody from Scream 4 is in it besides, obviously, I guess a couple, okay? And now we're redoing it, basically. So this time, you can't make that mistake. You need to have characters that survive. Now, that's where, I guess, the fun, and that's what we talked about last week, right? Who survives? Who's the ones that they're going to carry over into the next iteration? And you can go on forever. You can go on on for hours about the main three, not even the main three, the original three, because they're not going to be the main characters here. What do you do with their characters? Do you eliminate some of them? Do you keep someone like Neve Campbell's Sydney as just a character that will always be in these movies? Okay, so that's one discussion you have. But then you do have to look at the younger cast and say, well, who's going to survive? Who's going to be in these movies going forward? Again, like Dylan Minnette is somebody that stands out big time. Jack Quaid is someone that stands out big time. I would say Jenna Ortega is someone that stands out big time, mainly because wasn't she like the first person? She was one of the very first people talked about and officially casted for this movie. I believe she's the youngest. She's 18. She's the youngest out of all of them. She, I believe, is the main character in that very first synopsis of a person and things are going wrong or whatever. Whatever the main thing was, she was that person they were talking about. So she's the main character. She's the youngest. She's a new breath of fresh air. All this stuff, right? So you can either do two things with her. You can either make her the Ghostface killer, or you can keep her around. I guess you could kill her off as some really big shock value, but I just, I don't know. I wasn't around in 90s. I was actually born in 1996, so I don't know how they, because you always hear the stories of Drew Barrymore, how everybody was so pumped, and then obviously they killed her off in the beginning, but everybody thought she was going to be the main character because she was in all the promotional stuff. But was there talks leading into the movie about a synopsis? Did they mention her, or were they talking about Sydney but they didn't say the name? Scream was nobody really knew what they had with Scream before it came out. So my thing is, would they do something so insane that they would kill Jenna Ortega off maybe even very early, or just at all, and be well, yeah, we got you, maybe she's not the main character, maybe it's somebody else? They could, but with the age of technology and the age of rumors and stuff now, it doesn't seem like it. We know she's gonna have a girlfriend, so she has a love interest, so I don't know if you can't take her out right away. And then also she has an older sister. Now I know a lot of people have said the older sister could be the killer. I agree with that. I think sibling rivalry, stuff like that, just the fact that relatives in this franchise in general normally are not good. If you have a brother, if you have a cousin, if you have a dad, if you have any kind of not even offspring. Offspring is probably a whole different set of problems there. But if you have anybody connected to you in any way, it's probably not a good thing. They're either gonna try and kill you, they're either the killer, they're either gonna die. There's only a couple things that can happen with them in these movies, right? Again, I'd like to see some twists to the formula done eventually, and I do think we're gonna get some of them in this movie. But so if I were to say it, again, the question would be, if she's not Ghostface, then who is? And then you do have to kind of run through the other people, and it's tough because, is it only one? Is it two? I know some people have brought up the idea, can you have three and have two be caught, but one still be around going forward, which would kind of be a spin off of what they were going to do with Scream 4, basically, where Emma Roberts was going to survive, and actually, because of amnesia to Sydney, and because other characters would basically just be killed off, nobody would know that she was the killer. So this, if you had three killers, if you had two be found, one be safe, and maybe that is Jenna Ortega, then you are doing, I would say, a pretty clever spin of what you maybe were trying to do, at least in the first couple scripts of Scream 4. So I think it's possible. Again, there's actually multiple ways it could go. She could be the main Scream killer. She could be someone that maybe doesn't get, if they want to really reinvent the wheel, she could be the killer but not be found and go into future films and continue to do crimes, right? It's possible. At the same time, I'm trying to give basically that crowd a bone. I would say, blunt honestly, I do not think she's going to be a killer. I don't think she's Ghostface in this film. I really do like the idea that it's her sister. I think there's just something, again, I think with the whole sibling kind of thing, and she's much older. She's 10 plus years older. So I think that makes sense. Dylan Minnette, his name being Wes, that's an interesting one. I don't know. Maybe that would be a character that you would try to keep around in the future. And again, another thing is too, that I always try to bring up, we don't know how many people are going to survive. You look at some of these movies, out of the first movie, there's really only a couple people that make it. You know what I mean? So, and even Scream 4, the people that they brought back or the people that were not killed off, it is a extremely small list considering the group that you start with. And that's kind of the thing with these Scream movies, that yes, the cast right now for Scream 5 or Scream 2022 is enormous. It's a big list, but they're not all surviving. In fact, 70, 75, 80% of them will not survive. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's really, really tough. I do think Jenna Ortega is safe. I talked about that last week in basically who's safest. I think besides Sydney, if you go down the path that she's kind of untouchable, if you believe that, besides her, I think Jenna Ortega is probably the safest character, mainly because she's not Ghostface, mainly because she's probably the new quote-unquote final girl. She's probably the girl that takes the mantle. I mean, Sydney already doesn't have the mantle to begin with, which is kind of annoying, but I think that this will be kind of Jenna Ortega's movie. Whether it fails or succeeds will probably rest pretty heavily on her character and her story and all the stuff that happens with her. That's a lot of, by the way, that's a lot on like when she was filming this 17, 18-year-old girl. That's a ton of pressure. At the same time, I guess that's how the business works, right? So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think she could be the killer? Do you think she could be the killer and just not be found? Or do you think she's just flat out safe? She's just a normal, average, everyday civilian who has no criminal record attached to her name? Let me know. As always, again, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know all these videos go up. Again, if you haven't followed me on Twitter yet, podcastnow15 is my Twitter handle. You can look me up on Twitter, or you can find it in the description below. And one last time, I try to make these Scream videos every single week. It seems to be, if you guys want an even more specific schedule, it seems to be every single Tuesday. It seems to be when I make a Scream video. So if the notifications don't go up, or you're like, Alex, you talk too much, I just want to know when the videos go up, it seems to be every single Tuesday I put up a new Scream video, okay? Truly do appreciate your guys' support. Looking forward to where 2021 takes us for Scream, trailer, all this kind of stuff that's going to be really, really awesome. And I hope to see you guys there.